Mr. Investor, welcome back to the channel, baby. So today I bought a new stock that ARK Invest has been loading up millions of shares in. It is a biotech focused company. Del Monte has produced a pink pineapple.
Yeah, I said pink pineapple, big boy.
And I was looking at this company and how it can be utilized in certain different industries, but I've also been wondering why Bill Gates has been acquiring so much farmland. He's become the largest private farmland owner in the US, and what Microsoft has been working on behind the scenes for many years now. So we're going to be talking about ticker symbol SRNG. This company is known as Soaring Eagle Acquisition Corp. It is merging with a company called Ginkgo Bioworks. If you're new around here, my name is Miguel and I look for big, juicy growth stocks. If you want to support the channel, please click the join button above my head. It's only 99 cents. You can choose any tier. But if you're unable to, just you hitting like and clicking subscribe is enough for me. Thank you so much for always supporting the channel. Thank you so much for all the love and appreciation. And always remember, none of this is financial advice. It's for entertainment only.
So, have you ever wondered why Mr. Billy Boy Gates
has been buying up all the farmland? Is it to do with the US agriculture sector being worth 1.1 trillion to the US's gross domestic product in 2019? Well, according to the USDA, it does look pretty lucrative, and the Gateses had acquired more than 269,000 acres of farm in the United States in the last 10 years. So I wanted to see, is Microsoft working on anything that's innovative? Is there a reason why he wants to buy all this farmland? And I found that in 2015, Microsoft was working on farm beats, so artificial intelligence, edge, Internet of Things for agriculture. So is food going to be the new squeeze? Is that where everybody's going to start making their shmoney? Because we all need to eat that juicy. So Microsoft has been pushing since 2015 with their farm beats to actually enable data-driven farming. They want to be able to make it easier to produce a lot more volume of food, more nutritious food, make it easier for farmers. And with this new company that ARK Invest has started to load up on, I wanted to see, can it affect these industries, particularly agriculture? This company called Ginkgo Bioworks, the organism company, is stating that it leverages biology, robots, software and people to make biology easier to engineer. So Ginkgo Bioworks has entered a definitive agreement to merge with Soaring Eagle Acquisition Corp, ticker symbol SRNG, and it's valuing Ginkgo at an enterprise value of $15 billion. Their team has literally been working together for 20 years. So you can see this guy had black hair before, he now has white hair over here, and he's still the same old handsome man. So they've been working on synthetic biology. So exactly how much is this market going to be worth? Well, behind the paywall of Barron's, we can have a little sneaky peek. I don't know if you guys will be able to see this, but synthetic biology could reduce the need for petroleum-based chemicals as well as for plant and animal-based products, which will benefit the environment. So they're saying that the total addressable market for this is over $1 trillion. Ginkgo believes it could be a lot higher than that. So what has this group and band of bandits been up to? 20 years together grinding. Well, they can program cells, DNA, like we program computers, codes. Jason Kelly has said that we can read code with DNA sequencing and we can write that code with DNA synthesis or DNA printing. But if you can read and write that code and you have a machine that will run it, that's programming. So synthetic biology is programming cells like we program computers by changing the DNA code inside them. So why is this important and what industries will it affect? Well, apparently cell programming can affect pharma and biotech, it can affect industrials and environment, food and agriculture and consumer technology. It can solve lots of the real world challenges and problems. Anything from antibiotic discovery and manufacturing, wastewater remediation, renewable chemicals, sustainable building materials, even carbon sequestration. And over in the food and agriculture industry, which I'm going to see is going to be growing for many years to come, all the way up until 2050, it's going to be compounding and growing. This industry that they're focusing on, they've got selective partners and they're looking at animal protein replacement, sugar reduction, animal feed and aquaculture, pest control, fertilizer reduction. And over on the consumer side and technology, they're looking at replacing some personal care products by utilizing cell programming to replace some of the ingredients within. So these guys are building a horizontal platform. They've got some great clients here already. If you want to take a look here, do you remember Corteva Agriscience? These guys are one of the service providers for bionanogenomics. This is a huge company and they've been around for 100 years innovating. So why would these customers want them? Well, they can program these cells for the customers to help them create new products to generate more revenue and access different markets. And how would this all work? So the customer will input what their specifications are, what they want to achieve, and what product they want to create. Ginkgo Foundry will utilize software, hardware and automation they'll design, write and debug DNA codes, and then they'll utilize Ginkgo codebase, using biological tools, genetic code and organisms, continually learning and improving to get the customer's desired cell program. One of the things that attracted me most to this company as well is not only the founders have been working together for 20 years to develop this kind of technology, but when we look at Soaring Eagle, I saw this name Eli Baker. Who is Eli Baker? Well, Eli Baker is known as a SPAC veteran. You may remember Eli Baker from successful recent deals. These were massive SPACs, including gaming platforms DraftKings and Skills Inc. If you guys know about DraftKings, it's a sports betting company, and this company went from literally $10 in December 2019 all the way up to a high of $74.38. It was up over 600%, and from then it's still up over 415%. So this man Eli Baker has an eye for some good investments. And if you take a look at Harry Sloan, where does he come from? What's his background? Sloan is the former chief executive of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Studios Inc. Do you remember that media company MGM with the lion going "Bro"? So those two investors weren't the only ones that caught my eye. The other ones were the board members. So if we take a look at the board members, you've got Christian Henry here, President CEO of PacBio, former CFO and CCO of Illumina. We also have Marjan Dekkers. Marjan Dekkers was former chairman of Unilever, former CEO of Bayer, and former CEO of Thermo Fisher. And over on this side, we have Shyam Sankar. This guy is the COO of Palantir. So they've got a strong founding team that has believed so much in the technology that they bring. They've been working on this for over 20 years together as a team. You've got these board members that are elite level board members, and you've got investors over here that have an eye for having these really successful SPACs. So before we get into the total addressable market and all these different revenue streams that they can generate Ginkgo, let's take a look at ARK Invest and how aggressive they are. So I'm using Lucid Tracking here. You can check the description box in my link below, and I've got the premium features of Lucid Tracking. And over the last 7 days, I've watched them load up on Soaring Eagle Acquisition Corp, SRNG. When I say load up, these guys have spent over $166 million in shares of SRNG so they can get Ginkgo. So within the last 7 days, they've now bought out, and it represents 1% of their ARKG portfolio. In their ARKKK portfolio, they have $77 million over there, and it represents 0.34% of their portfolio. Lucid Tracking is super useful because it shows you all the latest ads, all the latest drops from different portfolios. They can also show and bring together what the US Senate is buying and selling. It lists upcoming earnings dates, and you can also see in terms of how bullish ARK Invest is on certain stocks by the movement of the rankings. Where they put the most money is what they believe in the most. So you can see here the number one company they've put so much money into is Tesla. Tesla currently 3.3 billion, Teladoc 2.2 billion, Square Inc 1.7 billion. And you can see the rankings and how companies can come in and change rank, whether they're trimming position or increasing position. So ARK Invest has been heavy on autonomy and robotics, and recently they've also sent out this kind of newsletter which includes Tasha Keeney's analysis of certain companies. And you can see Tasha Keeney is talking about a recent acquisition by Deere of Bear Flag Robotics, which is an autonomous tractor company. So ARK Invest's analysis of autonomous machinery is stating that it should boost farm productivity, it should also lower the labor share of farming costs while boosting real farm wages. What's interesting about this is you can build autonomous systems and retrofit them to existing tractors. Yeehaw! And you'll be able to operate this tractor remotely. So I believe there's going to be a lot of money flowing into automation. So the demand for food is always going to be there. Agriculture is going to be a place where there's going to be trillions spent every single year. So Ginkgo has said that research and development spending alone accounts for $40 billion in untapped demand. They're stating that in 2020, cell engineering lab operations totaled $33 billion, and they think that the industry is going to grow by a compounded annual growth rate of 20% in between 2020 and 2023, and in 2023 it will be worth $58 billion for research and development. This market will represent to them over 20,000 potential new cell programs. Look how huge this addressable market is, $2 to $4 trillion in an emerging market for bioengineered products. And they're stating that between 2030 and 2040 we're going to see $1.2 trillion as a high estimate for the healthcare market. We're going to see $1.2 trillion for bioengineered products. In the food and agricultural market, we'll see $700 billion for the consumer market, $300 billion for materials and energy, and $300 billion for other uses. Even on the low estimate, we're going to see $800 billion worth of bioengineered products for the food and agricultural market by 2030 to 2040. So them cell programming, they stated that cell programming biology is to the physical world what programming computers is to the information economy. They currently have 70 major customer programs. This is including pre-2015 government programs. So they were stating that they got some of their funding through the first 5 years from DARPA. This is the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, and they've shown that they've grown into a diversified platform. So they've run cell programs for consumer technology, industrial and environment, agriculture, food and nutrition, pharma and biotech, and now they provide programs to each of their customers in those different markets. So with their customers, who are they and what are they doing for them? As we can see here, they're working with consumer and tech. They're working on fragrances, cannabinoids, insect repellent, high-tech electronics. They're working with industrials and environment. Within agriculture, they're working with Corteva Agriscience for crop protection, animal feeds, fertilizers and crop enhancement. And in food and nutrition, they're working with Kerry, AJ Inamoto, and Motif Foodworks, as well as big pharma and biotech. We can see Roche there, Moderna. They've said that their foundry is scaling roughly 3 times per year. The unit costs to programs have decreased 50% per year. And they said one of their greatest assets is data, which gives them a long-term competitive advantage. So 3.4 billion unique gene sequences pulled from all public databases. They get all of this data and information to help build new organisms, new genetic code, and new biological tools. Take a look at this market, for example. They said that this is a $70 billion market for nitrogen-based fertilizer market, and it accounts for a lot of pollution actually, 5% of global greenhouse gases, 4% of global natural gas production. With designer bacteria, if they're able to code this bacteria to program it, with designer bacteria, crops could one day fertilize themselves. And they've been working with a company called Join to leverage this same code base for key cereal crops. In terms of the beef and dairy industry, that cattle industry, it's worth $1 trillion as the global market. It produces 9% of global greenhouse gas emissions. They've been working with a company called Motif Foodworks, and this company has already got $90 million as a new startup, and they're focusing on making it easier to invent new plant-based meats. They're also working on the consumer products market, and they want to utilize the same yeast to generate proteins for personal care products, so such as skin care products, collagen, elasticin, keratin, hair products. And by creating these programs, they're trying to get these customers to keep investing in creating new products, new programs. For example, they add a new program, it will lower the amount of their cost structure for foundry, lower cost per program. This is going to give customer value proposition. Then there's going to be demand for more programs, and then with a greater demand for more programs, they're going to have to do more coding, improve program technical success, drive more customer value, and then they will see value share, royalties, and equity. For example, with Corteva Agriscience, they're focusing on discovery and development of new crop protection agents. So with their current programs with Foundry, upfront payments will cover the research and development costs for their customer programs for the first 3 years. So this is a highly predictable revenue stream independent of program success. If the programs are successful and they create good products for these companies and clients, they've got long-term value creation as well, because what they're focusing on is a royalty stream, so the sharing and getting of royalties, or customer equity of these completed programs. Tell me if I understand this right or if you understand it differently, but they're stating here from years 4 to years 8, they'll be developing a constant stream of royalties. So with Del Monte developing the pink pineapple, which sells at $49 a pop, all the Instagrammers, influencers, and people who are curious to have a new experience, try something exotic. So this is a premium product. It actually comes with a little certificate, I heard, and it's a luxury experience for a certain type of market. But with people tweeting about it, or it's becoming, a popular fruit on Instagram, it does wonders for marketing of Del Monte. So imagine if Ginkgo is able to help customers create new products like this. Sell those 1 million pineapples, baby, and then Ginkgo can get a little royalty stream going with them. In terms of revenue, let's take a look at here. It says growth in Foundry revenues and new programs drives their valuations. So the actual Foundry billable revenue that they received in 2020 was $64 million. This offers 18% growth to 2019, but their future projections are saying that, they're going to make 100 million the next year, 175 million in 2022, all the way up to 2025, where they'll be taking nearly $1.1 billion in revenue. That's from Foundry alone. So this offers 75% growth from the year before, 84% growth from the year before, 95% growth. This is large amounts of growth that they're stating is going to happen. They're also stating that there's this massive kind of future upside potential as they develop new programs. They're stating that they want to build this company to make sure it's the best place for the world's top scientists, engineers, and software developers to come and build their careers. They've also stated that previously they've acquired several technology and code-based assets, so they've grabbed other companies, they've grabbed other technology as well, and selectively they want to acquire assets in strategic and important areas. So while I was watching ARK pile up into this stock recently, I'm going to be watching day by day to see how much they're willing to invest, how much they're accumulating, because it's been over $166 million currently they've spent so far in acquiring over 16 million shares of Soaring Eagle acquisition, which will become Ginkgo. Another really cool feature that Lucid Tracking has is they've actually got this kind of meme page where you can look for what are the latest meme stocks that are going to pop off. So what it does is it will crawl the web, it will try and get all the articles together, it will build up social scores and build its own Lucid Tracking score to see what is going to pop off next. So the market is open now. Will you be buying any Soaring Eagle stock? It's up 1.3% today. What a whopper. But long term, what can Ginkgo turn into as a company? I'm going to do some more research before I invest again. And I'm going to take a deeper look into Ginkgo and see where are the strategic partnerships placed. I want to explore as well some of the major customers they have and what they're currently working on with those customers. I hope you found this video useful and entertaining. Let me know your thoughts and feelings. Have you invested in this company? Did you find it a long time ago? Have you been watching ARK Invest and what they've been up to? If you're able to support the channel, please click the join button above my head. Always remember, this is not financial advice, it's for entertainment only. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Mr. Invest a lot. Over and out, baby.